The first episode of a series can oftentimes be a bit dodgy when compared to later episodes. The mullet Clark Kent wears in the pilot is absent in the rest of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. There are two different actors, as well as a change in how the Minbari look between the pilot and episode 1 of Babylon 5. Anime is certainly no exception. Princess Tutu's first episode is the most convoluted I've seen to date, and it takes 5 episodes to be presented with the true stakes of Cowboy Bebop. Due to all these sorts of shenanigans, I tend to give my serials the benefit of the doubt and watch 2 to 3 episodes before coming to a decision as to whether I'm going to invest my time in them. Demon Slayer has been an exquisite exception to this rule. In Demon Slayer, Not Just Another Shonen, I argued that the series marked itself as something unique over the first 5 episodes. In this episode, I'm going in depth to show how it performed the feat in just 1 episode. The following is an Aristotelian psycho-analytic analysis as to how Demon Slayer got everything right at the start. The first person in media res driving snowstorm beginning already proves Aristotle's statement that without action there can be no tragedy, but without character there can be one. The diction is sparse. We only know that the young man is the woman's brother, that the young woman's name is Nezuko, and that the young man has no idea what is going on. How did this happen, he wonders, and we, the audience, wonder with him. The desperate, sparse scene bereft of music shifts to a basket filled with charcoal, followed by a woman's call of Tanjiro, finally giving us a name for the young man who, rather than desperately running through the snow with his sister on his back, is now calmly strapping on the charcoal basket. The following scenes where we meet Tanjiro's family helps to establish his and Nezuko's character and station in life. Tanjiro is a charcoal craftsman and the oldest of 6 children. He wears his hair up like an adult and, while he is aware of the dangers of snow and is told that he does not need to, is going out to sell charcoal to fulfill his duty to provide for his family. Yet, it is not merely duty that motivates him. He desires for his younger siblings to have a bountiful new year. 2 of his youngest siblings wish to accompany him, but as he cannot take the cart, they are considered a liability. He offers the boys sweets and the girl a bedtime story in recompense for their staying home with their mother. Then an older boy appears with an axe. He had hoped to chop wood with Tanjiro. Tanjiro's affectionate head patting of the boy embarrasses the lad, who clearly likes the affection, but also reacts as though, I'm not a child anymore. Tanjiro is the oldest, but his relationship with his siblings seems to carry more weight than just that of the eldest. It also seems as though Tanjiro has taken on a paternal role, which is heightened by the notable lack of any mention of his father by his mother or siblings. Finally, as Tanjiro leaves, we meet Nezuko and the youngest child. Nezuko's hair is pulled back in a mature fashion, and she is modestly attired. She reveals why Tanjiro is depended upon and is making the dangerous excursion. Their father has recently died. We do not know precisely when he died, but as the youngest child cannot be older than 5, we know it was recent enough for the role to be new. Yet, he has stepped into the role in such a way that not only do his younger siblings not resent him, but he seems to have lightened the burden of the loss for the rest of the family. This sequence not only solidifies Tanjiro's paternal role, but it is essential in establishing Nezuko's character as well as her archetypal function. Maturely garbed with a babe on her back, our formal introduction to Nezuko is as to the virgin and child. She represents the positive feminine. She is that which Peterson writes, is something with an endlessly fecund and renewed, maternal and virginal nature. The child and the mother mimic life and the world. She represents the beneficial unknown as the source of eternal plenitude and comfort. It is the positive femininity, metaphorically speaking, that constitutes the ground for hope itself, for the faith and belief in the essential goodness of things necessary to voluntary maintenance of life and culture. The three together, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and the child Rokuta, archetypically represent the Holy Family. Tanjiro as the protective, nurturing father, Nezuko as the sustainer of life and culture, and Rokuta as the result of the positive aspects, the heroic hope, the blessing to be bestowed upon the world. This archetypal imagery is working on a subconscious level, and the presentation of the three siblings as representative of the Holy Family solidifies the semi-paradisical state of the extended family. They are the divine family dwelling on the mountain that, even when touched by tragedy, the death of the father, are not overcome by it. Tanjiro then leaves his family to take the charcoal to the village. The charcoal in winter is important. It is the heat source that will maintain life, and Tanjiro bears it. However, it is charcoal, the residue of fire, not fire itself. While Tanjiro dwells among the heavens, the mountain locations places him nearer the divine, the transcendent. He is not yet capable of mastering fire. As Tanjiro walks down the mountain towards the village, he reflects in C2, "We don't have an easy life, but we're happy. Life can change as suddenly as the weather. It's not like it always stays sunny, and it's not like it snows endlessly. And whenever happiness is destroyed, there's always the smell of blood." This contemplation is not part of the flashback. Tanjiro is a contemplative person, silently bringing warmth down to the people while acknowledging that he does not have an idyllic life. He is already too aware of the fickleness of chance, how blessings and tragedy follow one after another. Yet, his family is capable of weathering the fickleness of fortune. It is during Tanjiro's contemplation that we are first drawn to the notion of smell, one of the most important senses for human memory. Here, as the strings begin their ominous swell and the village comes into view from the dark trees, the scent of blood hangs heavy in Tanjiro's memory, and possibly ours, a reminder for us of the events which have already transpired in the episode, one which Tanjiro is currently ignorant of, and an event which our eyes were turned away from. Yet the next scene is still calm and sunny. The ominous music was foreboding but empty. We see the power lines in the village and realize that we are in the modern era. The village sequence presents us with a sense of time, as well as concretizes Tanjiro's character. While the previous sequences produce a timeless quality, a fairy tale impression, now we can begin to pinpoint a specific era. We are in an age of logic and rationality, not as far distant from our current time as we may like to pretend. Tanjiro is greeted by a bathhouse matron complimenting his diligence. When he returns her greeting, it has a vivifying effect on the winter slumber of the village. Villager after villager comes out greeting him, some asking for charcoal, others for aid, still others offer gratitude for aid previously rendered. Tanjiro brings blessings down the mountain. The most notable blessing is when Tanjiro utilizes his keen sense of scent to properly identify the malfeasant who broke a plate, the cat. Having sold all the charcoal, Tanjiro returns up the mountain in the gloaming. He passes the dwelling of a widower, Saburo, who forcefully encourages Tanjiro to stay the night. Smell once more appears as Tanjiro reveals that his sense of scent is so keen that he can navigate the snowy, forested mountain path in the dark. Saburo is not satisfied, and, regardless of the power lines we have seen, the hints that we are in the age of reason, darkly warns against the Oni, against demons. Saburo's house is small, one room, with no electricity. As Tanjiro falls asleep, he resolves to bring his siblings to visit as he perceives Saburo's loneliness. He also intends to annul any worry his siblings may have by denying the existence of demons, what his grandmother assured him of while she was still alive. In the morning, Tanjiro continues home in the brilliant sunlight with snow crunching underfoot and the only other sound that of cawing crows. Tanjiro continues his contemplation from the previous day's travel down the mountain. Whenever happiness is destroyed, there's always, he pauses, sniffs the air, and becomes anxious. The smell of blood. At first the home scenery is quiet. Logs are neatly stacked, and we, the audience, can hear a woman's voice sing eerily. Only after the snow-covered logs are glanced over do we realize the cause of the smell. Nezuko, with the toddler, lies immediately outside the doorway in blood-stained snow. Nezuko's hair is draped out, her legs are bare, and she has vainly carried the child out of the house with her. We have our first moment of true peripety. The tragic incident, a slaughter by an unknown assailant, has occurred. Even though Tanjiro's actions were such to provide sustenance and health for his family, they were all slain in his absence. Although Tanjiro has been found guilty of no error, tragedy and suffering have nevertheless occurred. The family that had previously endured the fickleness of fortune has fallen. The well-being and hope signified in the symbolic imagery of the Holy Family when Tanjiro left to sell charcoal has been snuffed out. We have now come full circle and are back at the opening sequence. The weather has followed fortune, and, while it had been clear from his excursion to the village until he found his slain family, it has turned as troubled as his own situation. Thinking on how Nezuko alone was still warm, Tanjiro rushes down the mountain to the village, seeking aid from those whom he had previously aided. His breathing is labored, he strives to maintain his speed. The contemplative young man has gone, and a panicked and anxious youth has taken his place. And then Nezuko's hand twitches. She awakens demonic, and they both fall from the path. I mentioned earlier the archetypal nature of the mountain, how mountains represent a closeness to the divine. Paths also have symbolic or archetypal meaning. The path represents the known, or safety. More importantly and precisely, the path is the safe, known way of navigating through the unknown. The tragic event which sent Tanjiro away from the symbolically Edenic home on the mountain into the ephemeral, profane world has been even further disrupted, as he is now flung down into the unknown, into chaos, as represented by the darkened forest, and off of the path. To put another way, path is synonymous with way, and way is a common translation for Tao. The Tao is the way that one balances in life. The balance between the known and the unknown, the balance between chaos and order. Up to this point, the manner in which Tanjiro was in the world had been in successfully traversing the way, staying on the path, and inhabiting the Tao. But now Tanjiro has been thrown from the path, away from the Tao, and out into the forest of chaos. He has yet to realize the reason for his fall, for his loss of the Tao, for his unknowing. He looks desperately for Nezuko. In the snowy forest we are shown an image of classic Oriental horror. A woman stands, head bowed, face unseen, with her hair streaming down. We can presume that the figure is Nezuko due to the kimono pattern, but otherwise she is visibly different. No longer is the kimono modestly bound, it is closed only at the waist, and we are presented with provocative glimpses of breast and naked legs. She transforms further, and her long, straight, silken hair becomes unkempt and tinged with orange. Her fingernails lengthen, and her face vampirically distorts. She has become the figure of the dangerous temptress, a gorgon who will destroy those who look upon her. In the cold, snowy, dead, or hibernating forest, she has completed her transformation from the virgin mother into the terrible mother. Nezuko has become the femme fatale, the insect in the ointment, the hidden cancer, the chronic sickness, the plague of locusts, the cause of drought, the poisoned water. She who uses erotic pleasure as bait to keep the world alive and breed. She is a gothic monster who feeds on the blood of the living. She attacks. In the forest of death and chaos, With the embodiment of the negative feminine, the dangerous unknown, trying to rip his throat out, Tanjiro retreats into contemplation as he blocks her with his hatchet. Inexplicably, Tanjiro's contemplation, which leads to a stalling action, does help him understand and process what he had not been paying attention to previously. Saburo's warnings about demons and the existence of demon slayers, Nezuko's strange scent, and the memory of Nezuko's protective posture and the additional scent that was at the tragic scene. As Nezuko's strength and size increase, Tanjiro's contemplation turns to guilt, and he finally takes action by crying, "Nezuko, hang in there! Don't give up! Don't turn into a demon!" Tanjiro is doing something extraordinary here. He is striving to talk his sister out of a demonic transformation. He does not do this to try and save himself. His motivation is to save his sister. Her form and bearing have changed. Her scent has changed. She is no longer the beneficial feminine, but the terrible feminine. Yet Tanjiro still understands her as a being with the capacity to retain the beneficial elements without harsh judgment. Even though Nezuko's transformation is due to a tragic event, Tanjiro still takes responsibility for that event which was outside of his control. And more extraordinary still, it almost works. Nezuko begins crying. She recognizes her brother by his words. When confronted by a monster, Tanjiro looked in its eyes and saw a being worthy of continued love. But again, it doesn't completely work. What has been so awfully done cannot so easily be undone. Instead, the footsteps we the audience were already aware of are heard by Nezuko. Her attention moves off her brother, and, looking for the arriving danger, her eyes once more return to that of a monster, and Tanjiro seizes her by the neck, rolling them away from the swinging blade at the last possible moment. Instead of her neck, the blade cleaves through Tanjiro's hair, and he loses the top knot. With the loss of his top knot, Tanjiro joins Nezuko in becoming lost. Where Nezuko's updo signaled her graceful transition from child to potential bride, Tanjiro's top knot signified his capability as a protector and provider of a family. Nezuko's hair flowing down signals a disruption in adolescence. She is no longer a potential, graceful bride, but a dangerous seductress. Tanjiro's haircut functions in a similar manner. He is not an adequate provider and protector. "Why are you protecting it?" asked the man with a blue-tinged sword that has destroyed demons deeply engraved upon its blade near the guard. Nezuko attempts to flee as Tanjiro explains the situation, but as already indicated by his loss of the top knot, he cannot keep Nezuko from the slayer. Tanjiro pleads for his sister's life, arguing that she did not kill anyone and that another demon must have done the deed. The demon slayer counters his argument by explaining how demons multiply. Tanjiro cries, "I won't let her hurt anyone. I'll turn her back into a human. I swear I'll heal her." Calm, forthright, unyielding, the response. She can't be healed. Tanjiro is devastated. He had been unable to prevent his family's slaughter. His attempt to get his sister to a doctor failed. A charcoal craftsman who always acts rightly does the only thing within his power to do when confronted by a more powerful authority: kowtow and beg for mercy. There is a pause, the wind blows, and a moment of striking peripety occurs. The heretofore tranquil demon slayer becomes utterly enraged. "Don't ever give others a chance to murder you," he screams, and then ridicules Tanjiro for his appropriate behavior. Can a weakling who can't take the initiative in such a situation heal his sister? Hunt down the enemy? Don't make me laugh. The demon slayer's tirade further upends Tanjiro's now chaotic world. The previously valued charcoal craftsman is viewed as unworthy of respect. Acting within his station brings about disgust rather than regard. Every mistake of Tanjiro's contemplative passivity is laid out. He showed his back, he never attacks, Both he and his sister could have been easily killed due to Tanjiro's inability to correctly perceive the situation and act according to how the novel circumstances dictated. As Tanjiro reels from this upheaval, the Demon Slayer watches him. His poignant thoughts belay his outward anger and reveal him to be a Kierkegaardian knight of resignation. Don't cry. Don't despair. Now's not the time for that. I know you're devastated. Your family was massacred and your sister's become a demon. I know it's painful. I know you want to scream. I get it. If only I'd gotten here a half day sooner, your family might not have ended up dead. But there's no way to turn back time. Feel the rage. The powerful, pure rage of not being able to forgive will become your unswerving drive to take action. With such a fragile resolve like yours, you can't protect your sister or get revenge for your family. The Demon Slayer knows that what has been done cannot be undone. He has resigned himself to the pain and seeks to aid Tanjiro in reaching the same resolve. While there may be some small hope, the demons may know a cure, Tanjiro is as yet unfit to pursue that hope. Furthermore, it is an absurd hope, and so, driving his point home, encouraging Tanjiro to shake off his complacency and become active, he stabs Nezuko. Tanjiro shatters. He's reached his breaking point and transforms into someone who takes action. As Nezuko has been turned into a monster by something outside herself, Tanjiro reaches inside of himself to gain a monster's violence and rage. But the Demon Slayer is still disappointed. His expectations that Tanjiro could become something more than a broken charcoal craftsman were unfounded. He once more resigns himself to the inevitable and ends Tanjiro's wild rush. But then, peripety and recognition occur once more. He realizes that Tanjiro's hatchet is missing. The disdain he felt a moment before dissolves into admiration. He was tricked by the craftsman. The mad rush a ruse to distract him from the true danger. The spinning hatchet coming for him after Tanjiro had been knocked out. Stunned, the Demon Slayer drops his guard while Nezuko watches her brother fall and then attacks. Nezuko's attack brings about the final moment of reversal and recognition in the first episode. The Demon Slayer arrived, intent on destroying any demon he found. He had remained in control of the action and held the upper hand in every conflict. But now he has been unbalanced and is forced to recognize the truth behind Tanjiro's words. Inexplicably, impossibly, beyond all reason for hope, Nezuko absurdly protects her brother from the dangerous Demon Slayer. And the Demon Slayer is humble enough to understand the significance, and, embracing the Kierkegaardian absurdity of the Knight of Faith, even believes in it. He sees what Tanjiro saw, that Nezuko is the beneficial sister of the terrible mother, the beneficial unknown, which is the source of eternal plenitude and comfort. She is positive femininity, metaphorically speaking. She who constitutes the ground for hope itself, for the faith and belief in the essential goodness of things necessary to voluntary maintenance of life and culture. Instead of slaying Nezuko, he knocks her out and equips her with a gag to aid in her own desire to refrain from full demonic transformation. As Tanjiro awakens from his dream vision of his mother, he finds Nezuko beside him. Revealing his name, Demon Slayer Giyu Tamioka sends Tanjiro on a quest to find Yorokodaki and begin training. Tanjiro has overcome the first of many gatekeepers in his quest, and Tamioka gives him an implicit blessing so that Tanjiro can transform his sister, and Nezuko can fully embody what it means to be the archetypal beneficial sister of the terrible mother. The embodiment of the helpful source, a constant aid to painful travail, tragic suffering, and existential concern. Thank you for listening. I've left links and resources down in the description below. If you found this in any way edifying, please hit the like button and share it with someone else. If this kind of analysis is something you find engaging, please subscribe. You're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section, but I encourage you to move the conversation beyond this platform into your own conversations, emails, letters, or movie nights with friends and family. Until next time.